welcome to this explainer. Today, we are unpacking a phenomenal shift that is completely rewriting the rules of e-grocery and retail in India. We're talking about the quick commerce revolution. It's this absolutely fascinating space where speed, technology, and consumer behavior are just colliding to create an entirely new retail landscape. I mean, think back just a few short years. Remember when finding out your online order would arrive in 2 days felt like an absolute marvel of modern logistics? We'd happily wait for the weekend to get our packages. Fast forward to today, and well, our modern impatience has completely taken over. Waiting for 48 hours literally feels like a lifetime when you can get exactly what you want in the time it takes to brew a cup of coffee. And this massive shift in consumer expectations is exactly what we're exploring today. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First up, the 10-minute retail revolution. Then, how it's reshaping e-grocery. Third, we'll explain micro-fulfillment centers. 4, new consumer shopping missions. And finally, we'll look at the future of retail. All right, starting with part 1, the 10-minute retail revolution and the sheer need for speed in the Indian e-commerce landscape. The old traditional e-commerce promise of, arrives by Sunday is rapidly looking like a dinosaur compared to this new reality of delivery in 10 to 30 minutes. And this isn't just a niche luxury for few impatient folks anymore. The data actually shows that a staggering 60% of urban Indians now expect same-hour delivery. When we tap our screens, we expect a rider zooming to our door almost immediately. And if you're sitting there thinking this is just some passing fad, check out this massive number. $10 billion. That is the projected gross merchandise value, or GMV, for the quick commerce sector in India by 2025. So to put that into perspective, this is not a temporary trend. This is a multi-billion-dollar structural shift in exactly how retail operates. Which brings us to part 2, reshaping the e-grocery market. Because more than anything else, this incredible speed is driving a massive surge in how we buy our daily food and household items. And this brilliantly illustrates the impact. Since the quick commerce model really kicked into high gear around 2020, e-grocery penetration has literally grown fivefold. It's now hitting about 1.5% nationally, but if you look at the major metro cities, which are really the core engine for quick commerce, that share has shot up to an impressive 6 or 7%. Just look at the explosive trajectory here. We're looking at a market that's essentially doubling year over year. We go from roughly $5 billion in 2023, jumping to over $10.5 billion in 2025, and then it's projected to just completely skyrocket to over $67 billion by the end of the decade. Analysts actually project that quick commerce will capture up to 50% of the incremental e-retail GMV over the next 5 years. It's taking groceries, which has always been a notoriously stubborn category to bring online, and dragging it firmly into the digital age. Okay, let's move to part 3. Micro-fulfillment centers explained. We really need to lift the hood on the operational engine, making this 10-minute wizardry actually possible. You'll often hear industry insiders throw around the term dark stores, but these are essentially just micro-fulfillment centers. Think of them as mini warehouses strategically planted directly inside dense urban neighborhoods. You can't just walk in and browse. They are purely optimized for picking and packing high-demand items for instant, hyper-local delivery. They completely eliminate the need for those massive, distant fulfillment centers for these specific rapid orders. To really grasp the magnitude of this shift, think about the old model. Traditional warehouses meant massive footprints, way outside city limits where real estate is cheap, which of course meant slow dispatch times. The neighborhood dark store flips this entire concept on its head. We're talking a tiny footprint sitting right inside your community, allowing for instant dispatch. They rely entirely on dense urban demand and the extremely favorable economics of a super short last-mile delivery route. And they are absolutely everywhere now. There are over 7,000 of these micro-fulfillment centers spread across more than 200 cities in India. The sheer scale and speed of this physical infrastructure build-out is pretty wild. It's a huge testament to how aggressively these platforms are betting on hyper-local speed. Now, what's really interesting about this is the perfectly orchestrated 10-minute life cycle. Step 1, you place the order. Step 2, inside that micro-fulfillment center, workers, guided by some pretty serious tech, pick and pack your items in usually under 2 minutes. Step 3, the rider grabs the bag and zooms to your location. It is this highly synchronized dance of data, inventory management, and hyperlocal logistics. That naturally leads us to part 4, new consumer shopping missions.
Because it's not just about how fast we get things, it's that how and why we're shopping has fundamentally changed.
When we break down the actual data, you can see this massive 88% chunk of the gross merchandise value comes purely from household essentials. Quick commerce is largely serving as this ultimate convenience channel for our daily habit-forming needs. Milk, bread, snacks, you name it. But don't ignore that 12% slice for discretionary items. Things like electronics, beauty products, or even festive gifts. That segment is growing fast, with platforms using speed as a real customer delight lever for those non-essentials. Because of this, the behavior of the quick commerce shopper is incredibly distinct. App sessions are super short, sub 5 minutes, compared to the 10+ minutes we usually spend browsing regular e-commerce sites. The whole mission has shifted away from that planned monthly bulk buying to highly intentional top-up missions and impulse buying. We're buying smaller pack sizes, and since we're opening the app with a very specific, immediate need, the visit-to-order conversion rate is a whopping 8 times higher than traditional e-retail. You basically get in, you buy, and you get out. Let's move to our final section, Part 5, the future of retail. So where exactly is this high-speed train heading as we look toward the rest of the decade? Well, I want to highlight this quote from Bain & Company because it really hits the nail on the head. They state quick commerce is projected to contribute 45% to 50% of incremental e-retail GMV over the next 5 years. Now, traditional e-retail will absolutely remain the core of the overall market, for sure. But there is just no denying that the primary growth engine right now, the frontier capturing almost half of all new digital spending, is quick commerce. So to wrap up our explainer today, I want to leave you with this slightly provocative thought. We've talked all about the data, the shifting consumer habits, and the dark store tech. But just look out your window. How will your own neighborhood physically change as thousands of these 10-minute microhubs take over storefronts and alleyways to support our demand for instant gratification? It's a massive physical and economic transformation, and it's happening literally right in our own backyards. Thanks for joining me on this one. Keep exploring and definitely keep questioning the world around you.